Good morning. This doesn't happen to normal people. This entire place to myself. This way. Okay, welcome to episode 2. I've ingeniously called this episode Campervan Adventures. So it's just going to cover all the places where I've been in the campervan with friends, by myself and with Bob, who's laid outside of me now. We're actually at Lake Bled, Slovenia. Can't really see it behind the roses, but yeah, it's a beautiful day. But yeah, I just want to cover basically why I choose to live in a campervan rather than a house. Kind of also want to touch on why for the last 10 years, since the army, since uni, I've kind of lived the lifestyle I have. And obviously with the last 2 years, how winning the money has helped my lifestyle, and you know, kind of way I just carry on doing it. So it's going to cover like places, Norway, Sweden and Finland. Got some good stories to cover from there, where I went with Pat, my friend. He come for nearly 3 weeks, which was cool. He flew into Oslo, and basically we went all the way up the fjords of Norway, up to the Lofoten Islands, which were amazing. Be lots of pictures. So we're in a place called the Lofoten Islands. You can see it's wild, it's gorgeous, it's amazing. There's no villages anywhere near, it's just like literally middle of nowhere. And then, for 2 hours of my life this morning with my friend Pat, this is what we've got off this bit of beach. I think it's absolutely disgusting. I'll go into some more detail of that later. And then from Wales to Scotland, obviously I love as home countries. I love Scotland. I've been to Scotland in a campervan maybe 4 or 5 times. My brother's been with me, just by myself, and then with Bob, who's just laid outside of me here. But basically I want to, you know, cover why I choose to live in a campervan. So as I've said before, like for the last, it's been 10 years I guess. I have had a couple of serious relationships in that time where I have lived in certain places for a couple of years. But basically I've just been a transient. I've never been able to sell, and I kind of think that maybe from the army. I've always kind of preferred my own company. I've never had that many friends. The friends I've got are my best friends, and that's all anybody needs, I think, is a couple of really good friends who you don't speak to for months and months and months, and then, you know, if you need anything or if they need anything, you're there for them or they're there for you. So I kind of always liked my own company. The army instilled me to being away from, used to being away from home. So yeah, so I kind of got used to not being with family and not seeing them every day or every week or every month even, once you go on tours. But the basis of this video is, you know, the campervan adventures. I love my campervan more than anything, except Bob. And I love Bob being with me campervan. I always seem to go places in winters, which I kind of like because it's always a lot quieter. Like the Norway trip is a prime example. Me and Patrick, we were in Norway for, Patrick was there like I said for another 3 weeks. I was there for close to 6 weeks, and it was great. Like we use this cool little parking app called Park for Night. So on that, there's like all your parking spots or your camp spots where you can empty your waste and stuff. But Pat basically just navigated us around using that, and it was so amazing. So the pictures on it would be in summertime, and there'd be lots of campervans there, and like half the sites, obviously there were lots of snow, which you'll be seeing on all these pictures now. But basically it was just quiet and it was empty, and I really like when it's a bit quieter. And I am a selfish traveller, I don't mean to be. The world's beautiful for everyone, but yeah, there's certain places who, like I were in a campsite last night and it was full and it was so noisy, and that's fine, people having a good time, I never judge, I never have any hatred or anything, but you know, I do like a bit of a quiet time. It's because I'm in bed so early every night. I'm so rock and roll. Basically, Pat went home from Tromsø, then I went a bit further up to the north of Norway. It was cold. It was -15, -16, and I got the van service before I left, and you know, we got it up and running. You've probably seen in the last video there's you know, draft excluders what I'd nailed on around the door because the door's knackered. Everything on the campervan is falling off. So you know, I'd winterized it, as I'd say to Pat. And then Pat went home, and then as soon as I headed inland, this was mid-February this year, as soon as I headed inland, I got into Finland one night, and the next morning, the engine just seized. Luckily, I just got into a town, put some more oil in it, and and then that was it. The engine kind of just exploded. Basically the oil had nearly froze, solidified. It was only minus 15 oil, not minus 30 oil, and it was minus 34 degrees. It's the coldest I've ever been. I've been to Falklands, that was pretty cold as well, but yeah, so minus 35. So basically, the camper van got towed into Finland. Me and Bob was in the middle of nowhere. You'll be seeing some pictures of that now and some videos. And we was there for, I think it was 6 days in Finland. It was just a garage with a hotel above, but the hotel had a little sauna. Each room had its own little sauna. It was amazing. Me and Bob would go walking every day, and we'd go on the skidoo tracks and we'd walk for miles, and I just let Bob off in the snow and he'd just be bouncing about, and you know, he loved it. So we had a good time there actually in Finland. So the parts come, it gets fixed. Okay, I'm going skiing in like a week in Italy. Right, let's drive. So 3.5 hours in, across the border, Finland into Sweden. 3.5 hours in, I just lose all power and I'm crying nearly. It cost me quite a lot of money to get it fixed then. So I got towed again. They said bring it back, and it was 3.5, 4 hours away. I said no, we'll find a local garage near a centre of population where we can get parts quicker. So come got rescued again. Yeah, so I ended up in a garage in Sweden. So basically I think I stopped in a hotel for 2 days, and they said listen, yeah, it's going to be a long weekend before we get the parts and a couple of days to fix. Basically the turbo had gone on then. Nothing to do with the oil issue, they said. They said when they took the turbo out, it kind of just fell to pieces in their hands. It's 12 years old, remember, and it's probably, I live in it, that's why kind of everything's breaking in it. So I think a lot of things are going to break on it. I'm having kind of issues with it now. But anyway, so I just made a decision, right, let's go home. Let's get a hire car, which the insurance paid for. Let's get a hire car. Let's go, let's get home, me and Bob. So hire cars, trains, taxis, buses, everything you can imagine, then the ferry over. So I left Bob with my brother, I think, Richard, and then went skiing. One day, lockdown happened. That's it. So I had to come home, and then I was locked down, just like everybody else in the UK, for 3.5, 4 months. I had to lock down 2 weeks before because I'd been to Italy. In hindsight, I should never have decided to go skiing. It took 3 days to get home on all forms of transport, 1 day skiing, and then in for 4 months, and that really had an effect, just like it did on hundreds of thousands of people with my mental health. I'm not saying I have, you know, when I was in the army, you know, I never went to Afghanistan. I didn't quite get into Iraq, but you know, I did Kosovo, and I think the regimentation of army life has an effect on you, especially someone who thinks like me, who's always had not mental health issues, but I've always felt different. I've always felt lonely. So yeah, I think the army definitely had an effect on me, and it has affected my health throughout my life, really. I've never been able to hold down relationships. 3 years, I think, is my longest relationship, and that was before the army. I don't know why. It's just maybe I couldn't even begin to understand, but why. But you know, it's kind of the reason why I got Bob. See, it all comes back to Bob. This is called Jackpot Bob after all. You know, this dog just helps me out so much, and especially during lockdown when I'd have to get out of the house and walk him in the social distancing rules and procedures. I'd have to get out and I'd have to walk him. So that helped me, or else I'd have probably just sat in the house for 3 months, which would have done me no good. He's always good company, he's forgiving, he's loving. He's kind of changing a little bit at the minute because he's obviously at the age now where he wants to go meet lady dogs. But, you know, I don't know if I'm going to give him that chance. I don't know, we'll see. But he's slightly changing. Obviously when I've lived with him every day since he was born, I can see noticeable changes coming in. But anyway, that's a different story. I'll do whatever, you know, I can for Bob. I mean, the dog's been to 20 countries. I was adding them up the other day. 20 countries in a year and 5 months. Okay, some of them we just drove through, but still, you know, he's been to 20 countries. He's a lucky animal. I don't think he appreciates that. He's asleep now. So yeah, the win. Yeah, like I said in the first video, you know, it's enabled me to travel. It's enabled to buy what I'd always dreamed of, a camper van. And for that, I will always be thankful. And, you know, so my family have said of the first video, I look kind of depressed, but, you know, I have some pretty happy moments in there, and I laugh a lot. And, you know, it's not a depressed video, and it's not a bragging video. Basically, it's it's me trying to explain my feelings. And for this episode, it's about my biggest purchase. The only thing for me was my camper van and the places we've been, and you'll be seeing lots of videos and lots of shots throughout it. But you know, it's been my lifeline really. And you know, during lockdown when I didn't have it, you know, I felt terrible. If it wasn't for Bob, you know, I don't know how it would have ended. But when lockdown did end, I was kind of on the first flight. It took me 3 flights to get up to Luleå in northern Sweden. I pretty much got the camper van, I hit it home, 2 days driving, just boom, boom. Got the ferry over, got the ferry back, picked Bob up, and the next day I got the next ferry back to Europe. That's how important campervan and Bob is to me. Yeah, the money has obviously helped enable that travel. And why do I live in a campervan? I think it's a freedom. I think it's a freedom of not feeling locked down like I did in the army, or like I did in lockdown. But yeah, I think the restrictions and for my own mental health, I don't know if I'll ever settle. And man, it makes me feel so lonely when I say that. Will I never settle? Will I never find the perfect girl? You know, am I going to have children? I don't know. Because I have to find a girl who's a transient like me and who's happy to live in a camper van and happy to sometimes wake up in a different place every day, and yeah, and just, you know, just I don't even know. It's going to be a tricky one. Hopefully over time, you know, we can sort it out. I like a bit of company sometimes, you know. I've got my Bob obviously, but you know, I would like a bit of company sometimes. So yeah, campervan is equals for me just freedom. Being able to park wherever you like, within reason, you know, depends what country you are. Some countries are really strict for not parking in places, which I can kind of understand in summer when you just get thousands of campervans standing on a little village or a little town. But for me, it's a freedom. And after as lockdown has shown to me, okay, we didn't have our liberties as such, but for me, it felt like just I couldn't take another day in the house. Now, I'm hoping over time that'll change, you know. I hope it will. I don't always want to live in a camper van, believe it or not. But yeah, hopefully over time that'll change. But for the moment, you know, maybe it's just being a stranger everywhere, if that kind of makes sense. Because, you know, that links into the trust issue with the money. You know, nobody in Slovenia, nobody in Austria, nobody in Germany knows I've won any money, even though it's all gone now. You know, nobody knows that. So maybe that's an issue. Maybe that's, you know, one of the main reasons why I just choose to be a transient and be moving on and enjoy, because I do enjoy it no matter what that last 30 seconds, minute sounds like. I do enjoy living in my camper van. I really do. I'm waking up, and we're always up before any other campers. So we're always walking around here, you know, it starts to get light. Every single morning we go do a good walk. You'll see lots of videos on them. So yeah, the joy definitely is there, and obviously thanks to that lucky lottery ticket 2 years ago, that's what enabled me to live like it is. You know, I'd always planned to get a camper van, so I'd do my winters, then I'd go truck drive for a couple of months, save up my money, and then I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna buy a camper van, and then I'd decide, oh no, we'll go here for the summer, Fuerteventura for the summer, we'll go Australia, we'll go New Zealand, we'll just travel for the summer, you know. Yeah, so I never got my camper van, and that's the greatest thing for me, is that camper van. And that's why this episode is called Campervan Adventures.